In Memphis, nothing comes easy, and that's exactly how we like it. This is a city built on hustle, on heart, on grit. And at Carway, our rides are built the same way. Tough, reliable, ready for the grind. No games, no gimmicks, just Memphis-style service. Real, honest, and built on trust. Where grit meets grind, you meet your next ride. Carway, grit, grind, and Pink Beetles. In Memphis, we know a thing or two about resilience. From the grindhouse to the Delta, we protect what's ours. But when pests invade your home, it's time to fight back. Grade A Pest knows how to handle what crawls, flies, and bites. With local experience and guaranteed results.
I'm Reggie with Grade A Pest Control. We service the Memphis metro area. That also includes DeSoto and Fayette County as well.
Grade A Pest has the entire Mid-South covered. So if bugs and pests put you to the test, let Grade A solve your problem. Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to your Friday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets. Got my guy, Drew Gann, a.k.a. Uncle Buck, here with me today for what's going to be an exciting and fun end of your week. I can guarantee it right here on Bluff City Media's YouTube channel. Drew, how you doing today, buddy? It's been a good day, good night so far?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm drinking coffee at lunchtime, so I'm pretty drained. Emotionally more than physically, but coffee solves both problems.
Yeah.
Listen, we're going to get into the Ole Miss game. I touched on it briefly before I had to make an exit stage right on the Daily Grind this morning, but I've saved my good stuff for this show. That's what we always do here. You see us here, there, and everywhere, but if you want the goods, you just come back here to the show titled Two Bucks.
That's it. And it's not an alliteration today. Today is Friday, so we're not on our Tasting Tuesdays or anything like that, but it is going to be a fun show. We're going to start with buffoonery like we always do. Typically, these aren't necessarily sports related. Today is a bit because it's topical, but I think y'all will find it quite apropos.
It is the Friday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show on Bluff City Media's YouTube, X pages, and Rusty's Facebook page for his grandparents. If you are watching it anywhere other than YouTube, I would cordially invite everybody to come into the comment section. For reasons that are probably pretty obvious, I expect the comment section to be pretty popping today as my Rebels took the loss in the Fiesta Bowl last night in one of the most heartbreaking football games / sporting events of my life, which is why our big three today is our most upsetting sports losses. We use this segment for anybody who hasn't watched before. Our big three is where we come up with a topic. Typically it's Rusty, sometimes it's a team effort. And we just pick three things under that topic. 3 favorite foods, favorite movies, whatever it can be. And this is our 3 least favorite sports memories. And so I set them up, Rusty. You knock them down. Give me the first on your list of, and I guess do you want to rank them 3 to 1, or we just want to spitball them? How do we want to sort this here?
I mean, I'll start with like my earliest, first time I truly got my heart broke.
Okay.
And it's kind of obvious if you know me, it's a well-known heartbreak. I don't necessarily have the vitriol towards this individual that a lot of my fellow Cubs compadres share. But I remember standing in my parents' living room in 2003 when Steve Bartman reached over and took the ball away from Moises Alou, causing it to, instead of being an out, which I'm not 100% sold Alou was going to catch that ball. Like, he had a great trajectory on it and might have.
Tall wall there, too.
Tall wall. He climbed it. Like, if you look at the picture, like, it's kind of borderline of whether or not he's going to catch it. But Bartman gets blamed for that. The Cubs ultimately squander that game, squander the NLCS and the opportunity to go play in the World Series to the Florida Marlins, who would ultimately go on and win the World Series. I just remember I was 16 when that happened, and I was just devastated. Just truly, that was the first time like sports really devastated me, because at that point I was used to the Cubs losing. Like, it wasn't a big deal, but
what
to
year
lose
was
on that state, 2003 NLCS.
Okay.
That's the first one that really
16.
Yeah, that was the
15,
first one that
16?
really like got me in my gut. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've always kind of went back and forth with the Bartman thing. And as a fan, you have to have such discipline to not go after a foul ball like that. I do understand the obligation you have when you sit in those seats. Like, it's something that you have to tell yourself. But in the moment, like, this is a NLCS Game 6, and a ball's coming at me. Like, what do you do here? He gets scapegoated for that because of the pre-existing curse. But yeah, that's tough. And honestly, as a Cards fan and as a baseball fan, you had the lead when he made the goof, and then Alex Gonzalez boots one at shortstop, and you lose that game. And then there's a Game 7 in which you're just like, screw this.
You have no momentum at that point.
You lost it. You like, it was over. And so yeah. I've always kind of had a soft spot for Bartman.
Yeah, because it was he missed that. There was a boot, and there was a big home run that took the lead, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah. If we want to go earliest for me, this is very niche. You know, college baseball is more popular than it's ever been before, but we had a situation like that. I'll be brief. Evan Bunton, the second baseman for Ole Miss, and I believe this was 2005. Ole Miss had a 1-0 advantage in the Super Regionals, which is best out of 3, and a ground ball to the second baseman, easy out. It's just like so many baseball goofs, just like Bartman. He skips it to first base, short arms it, knob blocks it to first base, and then it just like baseball psyche switched over, and it was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And panic, and then you lose that game. And then you lose the Game 3, because you always lose the Game 3 when you lose the Game 2 like that. You know, look at Arkansas. Jared says 2018, the Carson Shaddy foul ball drop. Like, you just always lose that next game if you lose that in that fashion. So, yeah, Evan Bunn for me. You go ahead.
Yeah, so my next one, I remember what I was wearing, where I was, everything from November 11th, 2014. November 11th, 2014 was predicated by Mississippi State being the first ever number 1 team in the college football playoff poll. This was 2014, first year it ever came out. I was at the Auburn game. We beat Auburn. We were, at that point, we had already beaten number 8 LSU, number 6 A&M, had cruised into that game facing Auburn, who was number 2 at the time. We were like the 3rd or 4th ranked team. And we knew that whoever won that game was going to be the first ever number 1 in the playoff. Florida State was good that year, but like, that was the big matchup that weekend. And it was just an incredible game. Dak had a day. Jerunya Wilson, R.I.P. Bear, had a massive game. Josh Robinson ran for 200 yards, and we won.
Bowling ball with butcher knives.
That's exactly right. Just incredible. You beat Kentucky. You beat Arkansas. I think it was like either UT Martin or ULM. And then the Alabama game is looming, and this is the one where it's like, this is the time to get us over the hump.
This is the we believe, wasn't it?
This is
the we believe signs, and
that's it, man. This was it. This was a chance to go to Tuscaloosa, get a win, get that monkey off your back. Hadn't beat Alabama since 2007 at this point. By the way, that's still the last time we beat Alabama, but
still going.
It was 8 years at that point, almost 20 now, and just a heartbreaker. Like, we had the game under control, and Alabama won that game late with we just couldn't punch it in the end zone, kicked a bunch of field goals, lost 25-20. And just the win was out at that point. You ultimately lose to not only to Ole Miss, but then you play Georgia Tech in the Orange Bowl, and they rushed for a billion, literal billion yards on us that night. Matter of fact, they just had another 10-yard game. All night long.
That was when Georgia Tech was doing the triple option.
And they murdered us, man.
Bobby Johnson.
Man, they had an undersized quarterback, and he was lightning fast. And their O-line, all week, it was Georgia Tech's offensive line is not big enough. Buddy, they trapped our ass into oblivion.
Yeah. Listen, I'm trying to spread these. I don't want to make them all Ole Miss, but I've got all of my deepest ones are Ole Miss ones. I'll do an honorable mention.
I'm doing one Mississippi State, and then I've got my last one is a Grizzlies one.
Okay. I'll do an honorable mention that's a Grizzlies one. Listen, and a lot of these, I think everybody's probably expecting me to talk about last night's game here. I'm not, because the common thread with heartbreak is it's either robbed from you or you shoot yourself in the foot. And I feel like Ole Miss, we'll get into it. It's not going to make this list here. It's not in my top three, my big three for most heartbreaking wins. Number 2 is the New Orleans Saints, the Minneapolis Miracle. And then slash the Los Angeles Rams, the pass interference no call. It was just probably the worst missed call in sports, honestly. The Roby Coleman just tackling, I think it was Darren Sproles. I don't remember who it was, honestly. But those two were just absolutely brutal for my Saints. And in consecutive years, there's no reason why Drew Brees shouldn't have 3 Super Bowls if it's not for those two singular plays. The Case Keenum to Stephon Diggs, Minneapolis Miracle, and then the no call. I remember there's only a few instances in which I can remember just being silent after a game. And that was one of them. My best friend from college, we were both co-oping in Jackson, Mississippi at different companies, and both big Saints fans. And he had come over to my apartment and watched him and his girlfriend. And that game and 4th and 25, which I'm not going to put on the list either because I talk about it nonstop, are the 2 games in which I can remember just sitting down and just being quiet for a long time. The Minneapolis Miracle was awful.
Yep. My last one is another one this one was in person for me. And, Edwards talking about Memphis losing game 7 against the Thunder hurt his soul. I was in the FedEx Forum on May 9th, 2011 for the triple overtime loss to the Thunder, where we just they got out on a big lead. We just kept coming back and punching above our weight, and we tied it up to go to overtime, and then we go to a second overtime, and then we end up losing by 10 in that third overtime. And I just remember a bunch of us from PT school we were up in the friggin' nosebleeds, up there basically where they hang the jerseys now. And I just sat down and was just hands on my face for 20 minutes after that game, because I just couldn't. I just witnessed one of the greatest sporting games I had ever seen.
Right.
And then it was devastating heartbreak. Now, it wasn't an elimination game that series went on, but that felt like that backbreaking moment. I pulled up the stats just because I remember Zebo had a monster game. He had 34 points, 16 boards in 56 minutes. Kevin Durant had 35 points in 57 minutes. If a Grizzly played 56 minutes now, Zach Kleiman would descend from the Raptors like Sting and just start beating everybody with a baseball bat.
There are consecutive games, if you totaled the minutes of Ja Morant or Jaren Jackson Jr. or both, they do not get to 56.
Yeah. Now this was a triple overtime game, right?
I understand.
But I hear you.
Yeah.
But Marc Gasol, listen to Marc Gasol's stat
line. But that's only an extra 15 minutes. It's not an extra 48.
57 minutes for Marc Gasol, 26 points, 21 rebounds. Just an incredible game. Herculean effort by an outmatched Grizzlies, and that we would ultimately go on to lose that series. A young Steven Adams was in that game. No, that was right before Steven Adams. Never mind. No, Steven Adams was later. But that was an incredible basketball game, and then just the heartbreak of watching my sports hero Zebo have a game and Marc Gasol have a game like that, and then it just fall apart at the end.
Yeah. There's my last one, and Game 6 of the Thunder where Zebo gets suspended is high up on my list. It'd be considered an honorable mention. More than 7, honestly, which Edward says in the comments.
Because you knew that was coming. When he got that suspension in Game 6.
You were up against it.
Yeah, because Zebo, like, they had no answer for Marc Gasol, and the conspiracy tinfoil hat for Zebo. You put the tinfoil hat on. Adam Silver didn't want his MVP being bounced in the first round by a scrappy Memphis team.
Was that Silver or was that Stern?
I believe that was Silver, one of his first years. Anyway, Zebo getting ejected cost us that series.
Yeah. Trying to decide which way I want to go with this. I'll go Ole Miss football because I hadn't done Ole Miss football yet. Not 4th and 25. 4th and 25, I go on and on and on about it. Like, y'all know, I'm trying to give you new stuff. The year before, I believe. Yeah, the year before, Ole Miss is playing Auburn. It's the year Auburn was awesome with the quarterback, the former Georgia defensive back, Nick Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
And Sammy Coates. Ole Miss got in an absolute shootout with Auburn. And Ole Miss drove at the end of the game through a screen to Laquan Treadwell, who cut up the middle of the field for a go-ahead touchdown with seconds to go on the clock. I don't remember the exact, maybe a minute, not more than 2, for sure. But it felt like an absolute exclamation point. I'm in Vaught Hemingway. The place erupts. We just won. And Laquan, as he's crossing the goal line, gets horse-collared, basically, no called, pulled down backwards. The hip drop tackle, they've tried to ban in the NFL, breaks his ankle. And, again, order of events as a fan, we score, oh no, Laquan, basically the same. Laquan Treadwell is hurt. This is bad, but we've won. And while they're getting the air cast and the cart out there, you don't even realize in the stadium that they're reviewing this. And then Glenn Waddle, the Ole Miss public address announcer, turns on the microphone and says, after further review, Laquan Treadwell fumbled before going into the end zone. Auburn recovered, ball game. And it just the chain of events there from win, best player ankle broke, oh, you lose, oh, the game's over. And it's like whiplash, like none other. Like, more whiplash than 4th and 25, honestly.
And then the Auburn Opelika newspaper the next day having the picture of Laquan and saying tough break.
No, it said finding a way.
That's what it was. Finding a way.
It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
My boss at the time, I was working at Hibbett Sports. My boss at the time was married to a diehard Auburn fan, and I was at work the next day, and he was justifying that. And he's a friend. He's still a friend of this day. Your brother knows him. His name's Joe.
Yeah, Joe. I know
we
Joe.
all know Joe. He was just justifying that, and I was like, listen, this is just subjectively horrible taste, right? And he was just like, no. I'm like, shut up. I was so mad, so salty.
All right, I'm done being sad. Let's move on to the Memphis Grizzlies portion. Oh, wait, we have to be sad again. But that's our sports memories, our bad sports memories.
Hey, let's shout out the people in the comment section. Darius Washington. Sorry, I guess we're both trying to drive. Darius Washington missing the free throw. Listen, as a non-Memphis fan, I know exactly what you're talking about. So that's horrible. The Chalmers thing, I can't believe that's not mentioned in the comments.
It was. I think King Meeks, somebody said it earlier. King Meeks said watching 49ers lose 3 Super Bowls. Yeah. Jared is basically Arkansas baseball. Period.
That's poetry for me, though. Like,
oh, I love that. King Meeks here talking about NCAA championship.
I missed that.
Edwards says Memphis in the championship game, then Memphis losing Game 7 against the Thunder, and I agree with Drew. Game 7 was bad, but losing Zebo was the worst part. Once again, all Arkansas baseball for Jared. So y'all let us know if you're watching this back later. Let us know what your painful sports memories are so we can commiserate together, because I am a fan of Mississippi State, Tennessee Titans. I was a Chicago Bear fan growing up. I could have put that 06 Super Bowl on there because you had the best defense in the world, and all Rex Grossman had to do was not turn the ball over, and Devin Hester got you 7 points on the opening kickoff. What more do you need? But anyway, there's a laundry list of them. So y'all let us know so we can commiserate together. But speaking of miserate, let's talk about the Grizzlies.
We are the Two Bucks, and this is our sports show. It's Friday. And listen, Rusty, I don't know about you, and it's even extended longer into the year. I have no idea what day it is.
No.
And typically this should be the week that it resets, and you're like, okay, normal week. But I'm watching college football on Thursday night the last 2 weeks. Like, it's weird. I don't know what day it is, but it is the Friday. I have confirmed it is the Friday edition of the $2 Sports Show, and we're going to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. They play tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who do not have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Do we have hope?
Yeah, so I'm kind of right there with you about the year. I'm going to write 2025 until at least March. But, yeah, so tonight it's basically just the JV teams that are going to be playing tonight. Oklahoma City is without the bad Jalen Williams, Isaiah Hartenstein, no Caruso. Well, Caruso is a game-time decision. He may or may not play. Kason Wallace is out. Chet is out. And SGA is also out tonight. I think his was an illness, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pulling up their full, out for Friday. Oh, due to an ankle sprain. So his was an ankle sprain. Caruso's day to day with a back injury. So half the Oklahoma City Thunder are out, much like the Memphis Grizzlies, with Ja Morant already being ruled out. It was encouraging to see Cedric Coward is listed as questionable for tonight, along with John Conchar and Vince Williams.
Who had John Conchar coming back before Zach Edey? Not me.
Yeah. But John Morant is out. And tonight, so it's basically it's Jaren and the JV once again, like it has been for the last couple of years. If you want to go over to FanDuel, make a little money tonight on the Grizzlies instead of maybe give you something to root for, since the Grizzlies aren't giving you a whole lot other, you can go right now, get a same game parlay with a 30% profit boost. They have an NBA 30% profit boost on FanDuel right now. And if you take the Grizzlies and the Thunder to hit the under, Santi 6+ rebounds, Jock 2+ threes made, and Cam over 15.5 with the profit boost, you can get that at plus 1689. Drew, I got a feeling that if we're going to win, this is kind of going to have to be the recipe.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. Like Santi 6+ rebounds seems doable. The only thing there that makes me squirrely is Jock 2+ threes, because he's either going to hit 4 or he's going to hit none. You know, like,
so I'm getting in the middle. I'm right in the middle. Right, we're going to hit 2 or more. I mean, and Cam I'm banking on Cam to get back on his heater. He's been a little sluggish. Teams are throwing a little bit more at him. Maybe tonight, without some of their great defenders in the backcourt, maybe Cam can get loose a little bit tonight. Help us get an upset win over Oklahoma City. Cool. King Meeks got to meet some of the players. That's awesome.
So, I guess they do have souls after all.
Yeah.
So, which was a shock to me. I didn't think they did. Listen, to go back, this is interesting. I like those odds as well. Get $1,700 for a $100 bet. All those three seem doable.
There's 4.
And then the under.
Hit the under.
Good Lord.
Again, I picked the under because Oklahoma City is basically bringing their training staff. They're going to be suiting up their ATs and their front office folks to play.
We struggled to score 100 points recently. So,
yeah.
Let's go back to the injury report. We talked about Cedric Coward being bumped up to questionable. That's good news. We see progress with John Conchar. John Morant went backwards. He is now out, as opposed to, I believe DeMichael Cole said, because I can't remember, the 3 previous games he was listed as questionable, and now he's just out. This is the second time we've seen this from him, where he's questionable out. That's weird. Like, I said it was weird last time. I think it's weird this time. I'm not over here saying, like, this is a Trae Young, CJ McCollum, Corey Kispert kind of out here. But it's weird, right?
It is. I'm not trying to be tea leaves and all this and say he's like a trade is imminent, but something squirrely is going on there. There's definitely a dark rain cloud over Ja Morant and his future with the Memphis Grizzlies, and not just on your screen.
Jared says he has a theory. Don't be sly here. Just
he's pulling Anthony Sane. Anthony Sane is notorious for just throwing out, I have a theory, and then walking away from the phone.
What's going on in Utah?
Yeah, in 2026, we ain't subtweeting. If you got a theory, put that thing out there, and then don't be like, that was my theory after all, that Ja Morant was going to go play for the Shanghai Tigers or whatever. Just tell us what your theory is.
So,
I guess they're like, it's weird. It's weird. And And I saw somebody else talk about this, that they're saving Ja Morant for Germany. Like for the big highlighted NBA games, that there's like they're resting him up to it. I have seen that.
John never plays on nationally televised games. You think he cares if we're playing in Germany or not?
That's what I'm saying. I've seen that theory. I've also, I think you said, I've seen a couple other places that Ty Jerome and Zach Eat are going to carry their kits over there. They might get in.
Well, I fully expect them all to be there.
But I mean, like, they might actually play some. But, you know, here's the thing. Like, with Ja Morant, like, specifically, it just feels weird. It's a right calf contusion. We didn't see it happen. Maybe it happened in practice. There's been no official release about it.
We did see that. We did see him come up limp late in that game. I think it
was it his right calf? I thought it was his other leg. But maybe it was his right calf.
I mean, I don't know which leg, but he was limping around at the end of one of those games.
Regardless, hadn't been a lot of information coming out about it. So I'm just curious what is going on there. If this is part of working through some stuff, he's out there emo tweeting again, wearing his hood. If he comes out with a shiesty tonight, then we're really regressing back to Ja Morant from last year. I don't know, man. I'm tired of talking about it. I wish we could talk about our superstar point guard playing basketball. So it was against LA when it happened. Yeah. I wish we could talk about our superstar basketball playing basketball and not all the antics and drama and stuff around it. You know, if I'm jealous of anything about Atlanta, it's the fact they don't have to talk about Trae Young and his negative impact on the team anymore. I just wish that we could get. And I'm not saying that that's what I want Ja traded. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I just want Ja to play and the two sides to work it out, because that's what's best for Memphis and best for Ja Morant and best for the organization. But I don't see that on the horizon anytime soon, Drew.
Me neither. We've belabored this point enough over 2 years, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, just be happy. Do what you got to do.
That's it.
Find the Lord. Go to church. It makes you feel better.
You get paid to play a game, quite a bit. And so I'm tired of talking about it. Let's go play some basketball.
I agree.
So, but you know, it is what it is. Memphis Grizzlies play basketball against the Thunder tonight. Go win you some money on FanDuel. Hopefully we can talk about a Grizz dub on Monday, as we multiple dubs, because we also play the Brooklyn Nets on Sunday. Maggie and I will be in the building. It's a 2:30 tip, so excited to be there for that. Hopefully we'll get a couple guys back. And a 2:30 tip is great because, like, you can do your thing in the morning, go to the game, and then come home at a decent hour. I like a 2:30 tip.
You know, the last time I was in FedEx Forum for a 2:30 start time, me and you were at Silky O'Sullivan till like 10:30.
That's it.
For Garth Brooks.
For Garth Brooks. With those diver buckets and all the straws and getting at it.
We had made
a highlight.
You know the cup snakes they make? We had made those out of straws.
Made a straw snake that was about 6 feet long.
It was great. Great day.
Yeah, good times. But that's going to do it for our basketball talk. We do have to talk about a little football from last night. A little game happened last night.
Yeah, this is the $2 Sports Show, Friday edition of the show on Bluff City Media's YouTube page. If you're watching on YouTube, go like the post, go like the stream, subscribe to the channel. If you're not watching on YouTube, go to YouTube, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, get in the chat. That's the rule. That's all we ask. Ole Miss played a football game last night. College football semifinal game 1 was the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona, home of the Arizona Cardinals, in which Ole Miss took on 10th ranked Miami and lost 31-27. And if there's one thing you can say about the Ole Miss Rebels this year, it has been entertaining until the very end every single time. Just another 5-star football game here. And if I wasn't an Ole Miss fan wearing the hat, living and dying with the team, I would just wish that Ole Miss continued playing, because they just play amazing football games, it seems.
Yeah. So I'm not a man to kick a man while he's down. And I hate Ole Miss 365 days a year. But I'm going to take it a bit easy today, because Drew did get kicked in the nards with a fourth quarter lead last night. And
like you've got anything to be negative about. Shoot, we're in the semifinals.
As a football fan, just taking like my bias off, as as a football fan, that was one of the most incredible football games of the postseason, of the season. Those were two of the best 4 teams in college football. It was what we talked about yesterday. The Miami, what ultimately being the difference was Miami was able to control the line of scrimmage and run the ball very effectively outside of Kejuan Lacey's 73-yard scamper at the beginning of the year. Ole Miss just kind of they ended up with 121 yards, and Kejuan had over 100, but again, 73 came on that one run.
75-yard touchdown.
Yeah. And so, like, Miami controlled the line of scrimmage. Trinidad Chambliss uncharacteristically made some questionable throws last night, but Miami couldn't capitalize on it. They dropped 4 or 5 interceptions, including one in the third quarter where, like, 4 dudes played hot potato with it from Miami and then still dropped it.
I'm telling you, like, if the tinfoil hat guys that say it's rigged, that was you look at that and just be like, what? Those guys have the under on interceptions or something? How do you not catch it?
I mean, yeah, and it was just like it literally touched 3 of the 4 Miami players standing around the ball and still somehow hit the turf.
Yeah.
Like Miami could have walked away with this thing with 5 picks, but Trinidad Chambliss stayed in there. He kept throwing the ball and kept hanging with it and got you back in a position where you can win that game. Ultimately, Carson Beck ended up being the better of the 2 quarterbacks simply because he got the game-winning touchdown at the end. That's all you can truly say. It was an evenly matched game. That was a great matchup with y'all's offense, and their defense was a great chess match. It was a grown man football game, including a grown man open hand slap by Reuben Bain Jr. on your center, sent him falling for like 3 yards.
Bryson Sanders has been a really good center all year, and I sent the clip, and I don't know if y'all have seen it or not. Get on YouTube, search Reuben Bain. He cupped Bryson Sanders' ears, and he hit the floor. It's like 3 yards away, and Bain had a clear shot in the backfield. And then Trinidad gets smoked, but stays in the pocket and throws an absolute seed to Caden Lee, who gets smoked, but holds on to the football. It was just a brutality of football game. Like it felt like UFC at times. I mean, listen, Ole Miss. This script, I talked about it yesterday. Ole Miss has the potential to blow out. If anybody's going to blow out anybody, Ole Miss would blow out Miami, because Miami is just going to hand the ball off, control the line of scrimmage, and hope that they can score more at the end, or hope that you score less than them, basically. And during halftime, me and you didn't talk at all during the game, but I got my Ole Miss buddy Hunter, that we talked and text through the whole game, and about halfway through the second quarter, I was like, this is terrifying, because what I said Miami wanted to do was what Miami was doing. And you hoped that you could keep it close enough. And Ole Miss has the intestinal fortitude is what I'm going to leave thinking about defensively. Defensively, they were outmatched. They were getting pushed around. It's true. They were not oversold the trenches that Miami's got. And Ole Miss was going to bend, not break. And they bent, and they bent, and they bent, and they never broke except for one time where they lost coverage of Malachi Tony. Malachi Tony on the big, the big pass play. And listen, I just got to have hats off, because despite getting just owned, time of possession was like 40-20. Like, it was just exactly what Miami wanted to do to you. You had a chance and even a lead in the fourth quarter, which you did what you had to do. Trinidad happened, the amazing pass to Daquan Wright to score the touchdown, then the 2-point conversion to get it to 3. And it's like, okay, you've done enough to win. Now you have to have one more stop. And hats off to Carson Beck. It's the only time the whole game in which they were like, Carson Beck, you were going to have to go win this game for us. We've been handing it off to 4, and we've been handing it off all game long. We've got to put it in your hands. And he was good. Defense missed a third down, missed a couple third downs, critical down and distances that they came up short on. Ole Miss defense, that is. And Carson Beck made it happen. Like, I'm not going to – if Ole Miss would have won last night, they would have found a way to win. I would have came on this show, been extremely happy, overjoyed, and looked you dead in the eyes and said, we snuck that out. Miami is just physical and better than Ole Miss.
I am excited to see that matchup with hopefully Indiana if you're talking about just pure physical on physical, because those two teams are two of the most physical teams that I've ever seen in like recent memory. And I don't know that we would get a better matchup than that. But again, hats off to Ole Miss. You like at the skill position, it was talent for talent. But when you're just so much out talented in the trenches, for this thing to be a 4-point game and you to have an opportunity to win, that was punching above your weight class. And they did a good enough job to put themselves in position to win. Miami's offensive line and Carson Beck were a little better down the stretch there. Jared on the Daily Grind this morning tried to take credit for having the score right, but the wrong winner. I picked this score. When I picked this game yesterday, I said Miami gets the field goal late and wins 31-28. And I was off by 1 freaking point. So you want to talk about someone who got it? I got it right, but I got the right winner, but I got the score wrong, which still means wrong.
You were never picking Ole Miss.
Price is Right rules. I win because that was one.
No,
still 1 point over.
You busted.
Oh, I did bust.
You busted
without busting.
Yeah,
so,
that means you lose. You lose. Listen, the only thing that in which you look as an Ole Miss fan and you're just like, what could have been, is just what's plagued you the whole time. You look at the Georgia game. You look at the Cash Daniels, the white running back Georgia brings in on third downs. Cash Jones, that's right. You could not tackle an open field when it mattered.
Fletcher's a bruiser. Fletcher's a bruiser. Tony, those guys are quick, but yeah.
That's what I was telling Dad last night. He was like, why can we not just hold them to a 2-yard game? Why is it always 4? And I was like, as it got in the fourth quarter, I was like, Dad, think of the psychology of this. That's Derrick Henry, 6'3", 220 pounds, and he is ramming you over and over and over again. Think about the fortitude, the resilience it takes just to continue taking this beating. And they did as good as they could, but they just dominated the line of scrimmage. And when you force them to a third and medium, to a third and long, they always threw it to the flat, and you never tackled them. It's frustrating, and that's the difference in this game. Ole Miss offensively did enough to win, but the defense couldn't do just that. It came down to 2 or 3 plays where it's just like, get off the field, and you couldn't do it. And it didn't burn you ultimately against Georgia, but Georgia didn't have the defense that Miami did.
So we'll preview. We're going to do a postmortem next week on the season for Mississippi State, for Ole Miss, for the SEC, since the SEC is out. But
SEC is taking a beating right now.
And honestly, not necessarily wrong. I mean, now that everybody can pay their players, the SEC doesn't feel like it has quite the upper hand that it once did. And so tonight we have another game with no SEC teams in it. Oregon and Indiana for who will face off against Miami in the Orange Bowl for the College Football National Championship. Over on FanDuel, Drew, right now you can get a 30% profit boost as well on all of your bets tonight for college football, including these. And this is how we're going to kind of frame the game. Oregon and Indiana, we've seen this before. They've already played once this year in what was a barn burner, a classic game that Indiana ultimately imposed their will on and got the win. I believe it. I'm trying to look and see. I believe that was in Austin, right? Didn't they win at Oregon? That's what I thought. Beat them at Oregon, 30-20, back earlier in Big Ten play. Well, these two teams have both gotten better. These are two different teams that are facing off in this game tonight. But over on FanDuel, you can get odds based on who wins and whether they go over or under the point total. So I'm going to pose it to you that way, Drew. Do you think Oregon can win? And if so, let's do it this way. Would Oregon need the over or under in order to beat Indiana?
What is the over/under?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And so, as a good host, I'm pulling up the line right now.
That's a good host. You may have been prepared before I asked.
Yeah, well, 48.5. I said good, not great. Okay. All right.
So that's a 48.5.
It is.
It's a low number. Listen, I'm totally lost on this game. I've gone back and forth on it. I feel about like I felt with the Oklahoma-Alabama game. Not that they're even close to the caliber of this football game, like players, skill-wise. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Oregon has always had the reputation of being kind of cute, fast, not physical. Well, that's not them anymore. They
No.
they have hosses in the trenches both ways, as does
and they
Indiana.
out physical Texas Tech, who has been a physical, good
Right.
defensive team. That offensive line dominated them.
So traditionally, and this is kind of what you when you think in terms of history and you think in terms of logos on helmets, you think, oh, Oregon's got to go over to win, and I don't necessarily believe that anymore, and that's why I'm just kind of stuck. I don't know. What I do know is if it goes under, or this is where I lean. If it goes under, I do think it favors Indiana. That's what I believe. Because then you're talking about fighting in a phone booth, physicality, gang tackling, no mistakes. That seems to just be right up Indiana's alley there. If it goes over, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. 100% chance it'll be a good football game.
Oh yeah, this is good. Like we have been, the football gods have shown us favor this year because last night was in the words of our peer Josh Pate, I'm putting this on that tier. I'm putting that out there that's going to be us one day. That was a 5 Chalai game. Like I fully believe at least a 4.5, if not 5, and I think we're going to get another one tonight. Back to what you were saying, I agree. I'm not saying that it has to go over for Oregon to win because they hit the under and beat Texas Tech because they held Texas Tech to 0 points. But in this game, it feels like Indiana is like the Alabama of old, and they can play whatever game that you want them to play, and they'll be better than you at it. And especially in a game that's a fight in a phone booth, controlling the line of scrimmage, controlling the football, I think Roman Hemby gives Indiana a little bit of an edge at running back. 1,000-yard rusher this year for the Hoosiers. Hoosiers, they control the line of scrimmage super well. They outgained Alabama 407 to 193 yards. So they can cut water off, and it's different. I know it's apples and oranges. It's apples and oranges, but they can cut your water off if they want to. Oregon has won 8 consecutive games since they lost to Indiana back earlier this season. And so, again, both of these teams have really kind of matured. The one thing that helps Oregon is they are getting healthy at the right time. They had all of their receivers back for the Texas Tech game. First time they've had that in like 6 or 8 weeks, I think I read. And Indiana is off their first bowl win since 1991 by beating Alabama last week. 1991 was the last time. You weren't even born yet.
Nope.
And so, yeah. And they're the first one to break the curse of being a first-round bye to win in the quarterfinals. First team to do that. Yeah. So they got a lot riding for them. This game is going to be about, and not copping out, but I talked about the line of scrimmage in the Ole Miss game yesterday. I mean, copy and paste. Whoever controls the line of scrimmage in this game, because both teams love to run the football. Both teams like the RPO. They like zone, like zone blocking schemes and getting in space and getting their running backs downhill. It's whoever can do that better against an elite run defense, because both of them are top 15 run defense. Indiana's defense is second against the run in the country. They average allowing 73.7 rushing yards per game. And so if Oregon's going to find any kind of momentum and hope in this game, Drew, they've got to win the battle at the line of scrimmage and get Whittingham running downhill to open up and keep the defense honest so that Dante Moore can find his guys.
Yeah. I think I know where I'm going to land when it comes to the game. And I said it this morning on Daily Grind. I did not say it with my chest, just kind of waffling around, thinking out loud. But I'm ready to make just an official prediction. And I think that Oregon covers this game. It is 3.5 or 4.5? It's
3.5. Oregon is plus 152 on the money line, minus 108 to cover.
Okay. I'm going to take Oregon to cover. I don't really want to take them straight out, but it would not surprise me at all. We saw this 2 weeks ago, I guess, in the first round matchup where it was Oregon, or second round in the quarterfinals. We talked about Oregon Rock meeting Texas Tech a hard place when Texas Tech their defense is stout. They can't do no wrong. Oregon likes to run the ball. Texas Tech defends the run better than anybody in the world. And what you saw is a 23-0 splattering. And that's kind of stuck with me. I don't want anybody to hear what you're hearing a lot of places, and that is like disparaging Indiana. Like this isn't. I respect the heck out of Indiana. I'm not taking them lightly. Just what I saw against Texas Tech, coupled with the fact this is the second time they're playing, and it's hard to beat somebody twice. And
It is.
listen, does that truly matter? I doubt it, but it is an aspect. Like this isn't the first time you're seeing either of these teams play. Both these teams are going to look at their notes from what happened in October and correct them. I'm just going to lean with Oregon on this one.
Yeah, I can see that. Oregon, and I know, maybe this doesn't matter as much, but I think this game's played on turf. The Mercedes-Benz zone is super, super fast, and that's going to favor Oregon's speed. Like, Oregon has got a lot of team speed. Indiana is a bit more physical than Oregon, I think. And Oregon is a very physical team, but I think Indiana has the nod there. But this turf is going to help Oregon in their speed. And the comparisons are there. I've made the comparison a lot of Kurt Cignetti's team to the Alabama teams of old. This team is just giving 2009 Alabama, where they're just inevitable. Like, they're going to impose their will. They're going to run downhill, right? Like, Hemby is not Mark Ingram from that team, but he's a really good downhill runner. Their defense is going to control the line of scrimmage and force you to beat them. They're not going to make mistakes on either side of the ball. Mendoza is very much Greg McElroy, right? Like, where he's not going to go out and throw for 600 yards and win you a football
sounds
game.
Like a shot.
I mean, a little.
No, okay.
At both of them. They're not going to go out and throw you 600 yards, but like, he's going to get you 250, 300 if you need it, and he's not going to turn the ball over. That's the biggest thing for Indiana. I don't know that Oregon is going to get a fumble recovery and a rumbling, bumbling, stumbling from the good Uiagalelei brother who's playing defensive tackle for him, number 10. I don't know that we're going to see a bunch of turnovers because Indiana doesn't beat themselves. They play very fundamentally sound, gap-smart football and defense. And it's just like that 2009 Alabama team where it just feels like they're inevitable. They got Alabama that year had lost to Florida in SEC championship games in the past and had lost games down the stretch that they didn't do. Indiana got the monkey off their back by beating Ohio State. I'm going to take the Hoosiers to cover. I think they win by a touchdown. I don't think they blow out Oregon. I would favor the under because Indiana's not going to go out and I don't think they're going to go out and try and hang 56 on this team. But if they get up like 17-7 or 17-10, I think they're just going to sit on the football. They're going to put their foot on the throat of Oregon. They're going to choke them out and win this football game to go play Miami. I've bet and I've doubted against Indiana far too many times this year. Don't prove me wrong this time, Hoosiers. I'm riding with the Hoosiers.
Yeah, I'm truly split on this one. I'm leaning Oregon just because of the rematch battle. But
sure,
this could go either way. It's going to be an exciting football game.
Oh,
no doubt about it. And
I
selfishly, I kind of hope it's Oregon and Miami because then you're not seeing two of the same thing. Styles make fights, like Ole Miss and Miami, where it was good on good the whole game. That's what you're going to see if you get Oregon versus Miami.
Yeah. Otherwise, this is going to be two teams leaning on each other and see who can run the football.
Otherwise, it could be a very boring football game.
Well, if you're a fan of just hit somebody in the mouth downhill running football, Indiana-Miami would be an incredible matchup. But we'll know this time tomorrow. We will know who we have on January the 19th, the Monday College Football National Championship. Before we get out of here, I do want to address, I think this would be a good conversation to have around some of the portal shenanigans that has happened over the last few days, particularly with Damon Williams out in Washington. So for those of you not keeping up at home or the uninformed, uninitiated, Damon Williams had signed a deal to stay, a $4 million deal to stay in Washington, only for LSU and Lane Kiffin to dangle a $6 million deal in his face. And he said, on second thought, I'm out. I'm hitting the portal. Well, Jed Fish and the Washington Huskies brass came back and said, absolutely not. You have signed a contract. You have agreed to a contract. We will pursue legal action in this if you follow through with this. Only for him to come out yesterday in an Instagram post and said, after reflecting and talking with my family, I want to stay here in Washington and build on what we've been building, a.k.a. he didn't have a case and would lose out on all the money. And so now that puts Lane Kiffin in a precarious situation at LSU. But good on Jed Fish in Washington for enforcing this contract and making him honor something that he had already signed and committed to stay in Washington.
So this is an important distinction to make. So that we are now entering into the first cycle of this rev share. So rev share is different than NIL. Rev share is a percentage of the revenue that is taken from the university and given to players. NIL was all this private money that was coming in, and it was just super, what we used to call under the table stuff. This is just above board, under the table stuff. Like, there was no regulation, there was no holding anybody to anything. Damon Williams signed a rev share deal. The money, the $4 million, was not NIL, but it was rev share. That allowed Washington grounds to tell LSU, because it wasn't that Damon Williams could do whatever Damon Williams wants to do. But what that contract was they were going to be able to hold the school that Damon Williams chose over Washington and breaching the contract he had with Washington, to hold them responsible to a $4 million buyout, which then, instead of Damon Williams reflecting and deciding, oh, I'm best here, it was like everybody else hung up the phone and said, no, you're not coming here. We don't have that much money. You ain't worth 8. You may be worth 6. You may be worth 4. You ain't worth 10. And that's an important distinction to make. And we're gonna have a lot of talk about this, but it's changing again with this rev share coming on, to where if the university is giving you a portion of their revenue, then that does allow them some teeth. It's not the Ford dealership's money; it's our money. And
this is Washington Huskies dollars that they're bringing in, that you're going to help bring in, that they're going to give you a portion of. And it, like you said, it gives them a bit more of a standing. In what I'm sure is a completely unrelated note, Damon Williams' agent ended his association with him, terminated their agreement yesterday, effective immediately due to philosophical differences. Do you know
that was before he announced to come back, too?
Coming back.
I don't know.
Yep. And he's with Wasserman Football. You know who one of his biggest clients is?
I've heard that name before, so it's probably a big one.
Yeah, Damon agents Doug Hendrickson was his name, is the agent's name. He is Jed Fish's agent as well.
Oh, okay.
The Washington head football coach. So interesting development there. It's going to make for some awkward first interactions in the locker room with him coming back. But these kids don't care. They're going to go out. They're going to play. They're going to earn their money. It truly doesn't matter. But now that leaves kind of like Lane Kiffin came down here. He's a portal whisperer. Where is he going to find his quarterback, right? Where is he going to find his Trinidad Chambliss? Is it Fair State again? Is it North Alabama? Some of the biggest names that are still out there are Dylan Raiola, former Nebraska, Sam Leavitt. Yeah, like word on the street is he's going to Kentucky, but it's out there. Deuce Knight, I think, is going back to Auburn, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that Ole Miss is going to host him this week, if I had to guess. I think the timing's weird. Everybody thinks he was going to Ole Miss at one point, but if Ole Miss kept winning, it got weird because he has to make a decision, and Ole Miss is planning to play more games. And so I think he comes to Ole Miss, but it has gotten a little bit more uncertain.
He's back leaning a bit more towards Auburn. And Bo Pribula, former Penn State and Missouri quarterback, are some of the big names still left in the portal. So I don't know where Lane Kiffin's going to go.
Yeah, so Lane struck out. He tried late in the game to get in with
breaking news. We're done. Hang on, we're done with this conversation. Breaking news. Shams Charania just in, for the first time, the Memphis Grizzlies are entertaining potential offers to move two-time All-Star Ja Morant ahead of the February 5th NBA trade deadline. That's from Shams. That's not from anybody else. That is from Shams Charania at ESPN. Massive breaking news here at the end of our show.
All right, well, let's pivot.
Yeah, because that is like that just happened. It's already been retweeted 460 times, 1.7 thousand likes. Like, this is not Evan Sorey or whoever these other little cats are. This is from Shams Charania. Multiple teams are pursuing Morant in trade talks, and rival executives believe the Grizzlies would prioritize draft picks and young players in return. Sources said Morant, 26, is under contract with the Grizzlies through 27-28. So you're not getting an expiring deal with Ja Morant. You're getting one with 2 more seasons after this one.
Yeah, this is not like Trey. Like I said, there are people that since Trae Young has been traded that think that okay, there's
Memphis
Sean
is
Street.
Memphis is considering multiple paths forward amid the emergence of several promising young players, including building around them and 2023 Defensive Player of the Year Jaren Jackson Jr. The Grizzlies also remain open to continue on with Morant as a focal point of the retool. So basically, we're shopping him. The Grizzlies are leaning more towards building around young core and Jaren. But once these type tweets come out, there's 1 foot out the door.
We've seen the last of John Morant playing basketball for the Grizzlies. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
And the point I was about to make, and then this is different than Trey because after Trey got traded, which is a really weird thing to say, Trey got traded. A lot of reports are out that like you may not see a lot of Trey actually playing for Washington. You thought he got traded to Washington because they had the cap space to sign him, but it sounds like it's just maybe an expiring contract.
And from what I read, Washington was going to do it as kind of like a evaluation and see if he's going to fit and go from there. This feels like Ja Morant is done. We will not see 12 again in a Memphis Grizzlies uniform. This feels kind of like if not the final nail in the coffin, they've only got 1 or 2 left.
Yeah, listen, given the nature of Ja and what we kind of harp on him about how he's emotional, how he's, kind of wishy-washy, all this other kind of stuff, it's hard to imagine a situation in which you rebound from this with him, given the emotional head case that he is. And listen, I was on the show yesterday. Just yesterday, I said, if I have to pick between the two options of trading Ja Morant or firing the coach and trying to figure Ja Morant out, I would fire the coach and figure out this Ja situation because you just don't have superstars like Ja Morant that come in here. But it seems like they're going to choose option number 2. And like I said yesterday, like I do not subscribe to the best future of the Memphis Grizzlies being figure out a team to work Tomas's offense. Like that's not what I think is best. You go with the players.
Yeah. Initial reports, Kevin O'Connor is in the comments saying teams to watch for Ja Morant or Miami, Minnesota, and Sacramento, the same ones that we've been hearing all year long. If I'm a Grizzlies fan, I hope it's Minnesota and we end up with maybe like a Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo type deal where you get some guys like that. But I hear what you're saying. Like we're trying to figure it out. Jared, I don't agree with this. I don't know what the market is going to be. I don't know that we're going to get a lot more for Trey. I would not be surprised because of the antics and stuff that come with him. And a player's best ability is availability, and Ja hasn't had that these last couple of years. I wouldn't be surprised if we have to throw a pick with it to go. Friend of the podcast, Pat Jones, thanks for being here, buddy. We've seen it. The writing has definitely been on the wall. The reason they're siding with Jaren is what we talked about yesterday. He's been available. Yeah. He had some injury concerns early in his career, but you look back over he had freaking turf toe and had a procedure and all this and was supposed to miss like the first few weeks of the season and didn't miss a game. He played opening night. Like he's been available now. He hadn't been good, but he's been available this year. And I think that's what a lot of this is coming down to is Ja's temperament and lack of availability on this team is why they're moving him out.
So if I'm making the case for another team to trade for Ja Morant, I've done this before. Listen, we could just re-air yesterday's episode. We talked about this, but given the news at hand, I'll just remind everybody what I said yesterday because my thoughts haven't changed. If you're trading for Ja, you're trading thinking that all he needs is a change of scenery. Like he's obviously unhappy. And the injury thing, in my opinion, last year and this year has been exasperated because he's not in a hurry to get back because he don't want to be here or he don't want this coach or he don't want this. Like you can make a case. Ja Morant is not a bad basketball player.
No.
People are out on him because of his lack of availability and his lack of good attitude. Well, you think Miami cares about that? Shoot, we're going to heat culture this dude. Like it'd be perfect.
I mean, I hear that and we've seen it. But what we've seen over the last couple of years is like even when Ja goes out and gets 40, we still don't win because Ja Morant just doesn't make the Grizzlies team better recently. Now we can go back 3 or 4 seasons, and he helped carry us into a second round, playoff matchup with Golden State. And this is ultimately the this is the ultimate I can fix her, right? Bring him in, heat culture him, let's go. It's funny. It's the dichotomy because I saw that, and now we got Edward. I can't, man. Why trade 12? I can't do it. Like, if people are hot and cold.
I'm with Edward. I am. Just because small market team. You don't get guys like that. And the fact that we scrapped a good thing to try to reinvent the wheel and implement an offense that doesn't feature him and allow him to be good is a reason. It is the origin story here. We got to go back to that. We got to remember where this went left, and it went left when they brought in this European style system that didn't feature Ja Morant. Is it a ding against him that he can't acquiesce and fit into a team kind of scheme? Yes. But Ja Morant was awesome, and then he wasn't. What happened? They changed the scheme, tried to be smarter, tried to be cuter, tried to be bringing this communist offense. If you remember, we talked about ad nauseum last year. That is the origin story to this. And, Ja Morant, like you would hope a leader of a franchise, a star player, would play the role of leader, but he's not. And that's a ding against him. But you don't get guys like him in Memphis.
I'm going to push back a little bit because you don't get guys like him in Memphis, but we got him in Memphis and we got him in the draft. And this is a very top-heavy draft.
Extremely lucky.
And maybe we get extremely lucky again this year. Maybe we land and get Darian Peterson or somebody like that can come in and be a similar style player. I hear all that. But
if you're banking on the number 1 pick this year in the draft,
I'm just saying, things happen. Like, we didn't expect to get the number 2 overall pick. No, we got lucky. But other teams are going to see, like, if we're talking about real hoops here on the court, Ja never developed a jump shot. He never developed a 3-point shot. He couldn't stay on the court. There's just, for me, the best case scenario here is we work this thing out. Ja stays in Memphis. We get a system that works around him and everything's better. But based on this tweet thread from Shams, it feels like that ship has sailed. Sip has sailed. So
try it one more time.
Ship has sailed. Got it that time. Lord have mercy. So let me ask you this, Drew, then. So we're talking about this and all the Ja Morant legacy and all that. I have 2 questions for you. Yeah. What is Ja Morant's legacy for the Memphis Grizzlies? And is he a candidate for a jersey retirement in Memphis?
Okay. I'll go in reverse order. Is he a candidate for a jersey retirement? Absolutely not. No chance.
Agreed.
You got 3 playoff series after him. You got a first round loss and a second round loss. Is that and a first round loss?
2 first round losses.
2 first round losses and a second round loss. No. Culturally, yes. Key to the city, maybe. Not in the FedEx Forum Raptors. No, not as a Memphis Grizzly. The legacy is going to be TBD, to be honest, because you've got to see what he turns out to be. His legacy could be the biggest what if of all time. But if he goes to Miami, Minnesota, Sacramento, and turns into an all-star, get deep into the playoffs, he's public enemy number 1. You sandbagged, you pouted, you got out, and you were great. That's your legacy if you're Ja Morant. If this doesn't go back, if you suck there and you're oft injured and you turn into a Derrick Rose style journeyman, well then you can come back here and be loved. If that's not the case, then you've sandbagged, you've quit, you've walked out on your team, you've been a malcontent, you squandered a small market place that you claim to love.
So my answers to that are very similar. No, Jalen, Drew, Ja Morant's jersey will not be retired. No. You think about the ones that we've retired, they were pillars in the city. They were heart and souls of this basketball team. They led us to a Western Conference Finals. They led us to the second round multiple times. We got bounced in the first once or twice. It was a bounty of playoff experiences. these guys were dependable. They gave you heart and soul. You just said it. Ja has been a malcontent. He has been oppressive. He has been depressive. He has brought the team down more than he's lifted the team up since 2022. If we're talking about on the court product, Ja Morant, in my opinion, has done nothing to get his jersey retired. If we're talking about being a global sensation, if we're talking about selling basketball shoes and that sort of stuff, then yeah, you can get your jersey retired at Nike. But as far as hanging in the rafters of the FedEx Forum, I have not seen enough. He is going down a path even different from Derrick Rose. Because Derrick Rose gave you more good years than Ja Morant did. Ja Morant had 2 or 3 good seasons. He is trending down a path of a Brandon Roy, of like a what could have been. What could have been. Yeah. There was so much potential. There was
Brandon
so much
Roy
here.
wasn't his knee and it was his mind,
and that's it.
Right.
Well, I mean, but then here we are. We've got a hip, we've got a calf, we've got an ankle, we've got a shoulder. Like we've got a bevy of injuries that Ja's had over the years. And so 1 or 2 good seasons, 2 or 3 good seasons to me doesn't make a jersey worth being retired.
And I think it's important for us to step back just for a second and say that Ja Morant has not requested a trade. Like this is not like Kevin Durant. This is not what this is. And so we shouldn't maybe pile on yet. But it is important to know, in my opinion, Uncle Buck's opinion, that this is being announced or leaked by the Memphis Grizzlies because of attitude, not because of injury. Ja Morant has not requested a trade. He has not fired that bullet yet. But it is a result of an attitude of Ja Morant over the last 3 years. And Jalen in the comments like, you're an OG. Love you. I do. He says Ja Morant, he said, first off, he thinks that as of right now, definitely getting his jersey retired depends on how his tenure ends. This could blow over. The trade deadline is 27 days away, February the 5th. I imagine we'll have a long show on that day. And then he says 19 to 23 John's brought a different vibe. He says he knows where we're coming from, but you can't deny those. And 100% agree.
Agreed.
100% is 4 years enough. Like it is the,
and that's
the
also
success.
And that's 3 years ago.
This is a Memphis Grizzlies organization that retired the jerseys of 4 NBA role players. Of the 4 players, you have combined 5 All-Star appearances. Like we are,
and Marc Gasol has like 4 of them.
Well, I think Zach had 1 or 2.
That's what
Mark
I'm saying.
had
I think
2 or 3.
Mike had 1. Mark had 3. Zebo and Mike both had 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so if that's true, we'll say 5, 6, whatever. My point is that we retired jerseys of players who meant more to us than it meant to the world. Like, we're okay with you not – we will retire your number if you are not held in high regard, but you mean a lot to us. What we have that's not been what Ja is. He's not – he's been ours. We've defended him, but now it's kind of soured on us. Like, if Ja's traded, it's because Ja bailed. He mentally bailed. He was a malcontent. If that's what I'll remember of Ja. It's not. Yes, I'll remember the highest of highs, the Minnesota series, having a Grizzlies player that has the hottest signature shoe in the world. I've bought 4 pair of them. Like, you don't have to preach that to me. But that seems more national Nike. That's not the Memphis Grizzlies. In 3 playoff appearances, you have 1 series win. You just like, I don't want to minimize it because I love the man. I do. I bat for him.
I
would rather fire the
Morant.
Coach. But like, we're talking about like legacy. Once you don't pull a number down once you get it up there, well, not without a felony,
right?
But
it's something real bad. But like again, circle back to those other guys. Like I said earlier, we had a Western Conference Finals is where that took us to, a Western Conference Finals. Ja hadn't even, like, we got to the second round and he got hurt and we got bounced, and that was in 2023. That was 2022. In 2023, we lost in the first round to the Lakers, and it was never competitive.
Thanks, Dylan Brooks.
Ja got hurt. Yeah, y'all's boy Dylan Brooks. Yeah, and he shot 29 times a night. But like, to me, like, I will, like, if this is truly the end, if this is it, I will remember the times fondly, be very appreciative of it, and be like, man, that was our chance at greatness, but it just never panned out. It will always be a what if. It'll always be we were this close and we just couldn't get there. And so I hope this isn't the end. I hope this is just a bump in the road in the relationship. And maybe this is, when you've got kids, you know how it is. I was a bonehead in high school, and I did a lot of I'm still a knucklehead now, but we all did teenage things. And my dad tried a lot of different ways to reach me when I was going through some of my stuff when I was in high school. And maybe this is just another way that the organization is trying to get Ja's attention and snap him out of the funk and do whatever. Like, that could also be a thing. This could also be another ploy to try and get Ja to snap out of this funk, saying, listen, man, we know you want to be here. You want to be here. Let's work this thing out, but we need you to be a positive on the court and not such a net negative.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I hope this isn't the last time we're talking about Ja Morant as a player for the Memphis Grizzlies. To me, given the personalities involved, it feels like the beginning of the end. No doubt about it. And I don't know, regarding the jersey retirement, if you want to make a case for retiring a jersey, to me, it feels like it would have to happen the way that Vince Carter happened, where Vince Carter forces his way out, the New Jersey Nets retire his jersey, and then Toronto's like, okay, we're willing to bury the hatchet. That was a fun run, and there's no more animosity here. It's a forgiving, it's a clean slate. Please come back, visit us. We'd love to have you here in the city again as an ambassador. But
what also helps is, like, Ja hasn't asked out. We're not desperate to get rid of him, so that's the only thing to me that gives me a little hope that we might be able to get more than what they got for Trae Young, but I still think you're going to have to stick a pick with him because of Ja's antics. Like, Ja's antics might hurt him more than anything for a team. Well, I mean, I say that. The guy also just isn't available. But, we got plenty of time to talk about nuances today. Ja Morant it has been made official by Shams. The Grizzlies are actively shopping Ja Morant ahead of this year's trade deadline to see what is available for him. Some names that are coming up are Miami, Minnesota, and Sacramento. We'll have plenty of time to talk about this, break this down on Monday and next week. I have an appointment at 12:30 that I've got to get to, so we're going to have to go ahead and log off for the weekend. Drew, any other final thoughts about Ja Morant before we get out of here?
No, I mean, just kind of sad. Ole Miss loses a semifinal game last night, and then now we're talking about we have put official wording to what has often been speculated as a doomsday scenario. And this is, in my opinion, the start to the end. Wayno just
poor
woke
Wayno.
Up, buddy.
Oh, poor Wayno. Buddy.
Yeah.
To not bury the lead, for those of you coming in listening, Ja Morant once again is officially on the trading block per Shams Charania, breaking late in our show.
From the Memphis Grizzlies, not from Ja. It's not a trade demand, but it is what
the Grizzlies are shopping.
Let's put a quote to it real quick. This is what was reported. For the first time, the Grizzlies are entertaining offers to potentially move off two-time All-Star Ja Morant. And that's a lot of potentiallys. That's some entertaining. That's maybe a bunch of nothing, but it is official language coming from the Memphis Grizzlies towards Shams Charania that they are listening. And
I think, again, I want Ja back. I want them to reconcile this. And I think this might be the right move to see what you can get or see if it can snap Ja out of his funk.
Yeah. Need to get a point guard back if you're going to do it.
What a time. I never thought we'd be here, but here we are in the year of our Lord 2026. It's January the 9th. And we already get news left and right about the Grizzlies. So
trade deadline February the 5th.
We'll be here hanging out
right now.
all day long with y'all like we did last year. We had like a 4-hour show last year as we ran through the deadline. It was awesome. Had a great time. Do it again this year. But That's going to do it for our show this Friday. We'll be back on Monday, possibly with or without Drew. We'll see kind of how the weekend goes. We are on baby watch. I think we're going to be later next week, but you just never know. Little Miss Josie might make her appearance sooner than later. We'll see. But y'all go be a friend to somebody who needs a friend this weekend. And Drew, tell them why there are no refunds.
And it's because the $2 you always get what you pay for. Hope everybody has a happy and safe weekend. We will see you back here Monday.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We'll see you back here next time.